Hello everybody, NitPick here complaining about issues great and small for your entertainment, and today we're going to be talking about Sonic Heroes on the GameCube. At this point, Sonic was becoming an actual full-fledged franchise with some great but dated games to boot. The classic games, of course, obviously, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, it was all going well. But then the unthinkable happened. Sonic was on a Nintendo console. Yeah, I forgot to bring this up in my SA2 review, but the Dreamcast was not performing any numbers on the side of good. The PS2 completely destroyed every console, even the GameCube and Xbox to some extent, but not as badly as the Sega Dreamcast. I'm guessing it's mainly because of the Sega Saturn's reputation. Back then, people just weren't trusting Sega after what happened, because that console was just a complete and total joke, and a first one at that, really. So, Sega had to go through some changes in order to remain in the gaming business. They sold every stock of the Dreamcast they could, and then became a third-party developer, releasing a lot of ports to the likes of the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube. This all starting with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, released exclusively on the Nintendo GameCube, followed by Sonic Adventure DX shortly after. Sega was in a really tough spot making this transition, but I think it did pay off in the end, because Sega almost freaking died. But if they had continued in the console business any longer, Sega would have likely gone bankrupt. But instead, everything worked out, and Sega is only mostly dead. I'm kidding though, because they actually made top publisher last year on Metacritic, so good on you, Sega. I guess this was just a really hard time for Sega, and you would think that with the success of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, they would have went into full-scale development on Sonic Adventure 3, but I guess because Sega just wasn't confident in themselves around this time, they made this game instead. A completely new and different game with a new playstyle, Sonic Heroes, mainly focusing on a team-based gameplay, as I guess more of a side game for the meantime. It's just really weird, judging by how well Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 did. They just put it aside and made this game. Nothing really wrong with it, I suppose, but it's just weird. But hey, at the very least, I'm glad they tried new things and didn't try just to force a game out that would have made them more money rather than risking and making something new. I cannot condemn that. Well, after that, I guess that just begs the question, is the game any good? Do I think it's better than the adventure games, or at least on par? Well, let's find out. Let's nitpick Sonic Heroes on the Nintendo GameCube. Alright, time to start with a story summary as usual. So we start off with Team Sonic running through a desert, and Tails gives a letter to Sonic from Eggman that fucking moves. I don't think we gotta hurry about what Eggman's plan is. We gotta figure out what devil magic he put on that paper. So Team Sonic rushes to find Eggman with Tails and Knuckles jumping out of the plane. Wait, Tails, you just crashed your plane. What the fuck? You gotta take care of your stuff, dude. Jesus. And wait a minute, why is the tornado in battle mode when you were just flying? Have you not learned anything from Adventure 1? Sorry, moving on. On a beach somewhere far off, we have Team Rose with Cream debuting from Sonic Advance 2 on the Game Boy Advance, and Oh, no, I'm back! Anyway, Team Rose have lost two of their friends, Cheese's friend, Chocolo, and Big's friend, Frog. Oh my god, you lost them again?! Team Chaotix finally making a return from Knuckles Chaotix on Sega 32X, which does exist, don't worry, I've checked to be sure, and they are great characters. You got SBO, who's a fucking chameleon and can even turn invisible during gameplay, and you got Vector, who's a giant fucking crocodile. It's Flat Fuck Friday, fucking loser! And then you have Charmy. So in this game, they made a detective agency, which I don't think was in the original game. Wait, hold on, let me ask my source, hold on. Okay, yeah, no, they weren't. And apparently Charmy is 16, but he thinks he's... What the fuck? And they get a package with a walkie-talkie from a mysterious source. Oh man, I wonder who that could be. Eggman. But that's kind of it, really. The story has actually taken a lot of a back seat compared to previous games. Although, with one exception, because Team Dark definitely picks up the slack on the story, though there still isn't a lot, obviously. Rouge sneaks into Eggman's lair to find a secret treasure from Eggman, though it's never implied what she was actually looking for. But she does find Shadow. Yup, Shadow is actually still alive after his fall on Adventure 2, though he has amnesia, and honestly, I do actually kind of like this direction, but I want to save all this for the future. See, I think there's a game that actually improves upon and tells this backstory, but it's not really coming to mind at the moment, but whatever that game is, I'll save it for that, and as the story goes on, there's plenty of setups and development in Shadow's character along with the Team Dark story. Like how he just looks at a fallen robot, and you can just look at his expression and just can see what's going on through his head. But then at the end of the Dark story, it's implied that he's not a robot because Rouge nods to us after telling Omega that the real Shadow is a robot, telling us, the viewer, that he's not and he's the real thing. But again, I'll get into all this in another game. I don't know how long that'll be, but whatever. Whatever game Shadow gets more development in, I'll talk about it. Anyway, so this story does remind me a lot of Sonic Adventure 1, where it's kind of a big story, but pretty much everyone else's story is just about them and the goals and what they're reaching for. Though in this game, there's no missile destroying a town or birds inside robots that need to be saved. Just a simple story, and I kind of like that about it. Do I prefer this? Nah, I actually like my stories with stakes involved, but there is nothing wrong with a simple run-of-the-mill story for just a one-time thing, you know. Oh, but speaking of Sonic Adventure though, there is sort of a new Gamma, a robot that wants to go against Eggman for sealing him up in a room with Shadow, only just a tiny little minor addition in that he wants to eradicate everything that Eggman has ever made or even thought about making. And believe me, this isn't just a little thing thrown in just to add some drama or whatever. No, he is fucking pissed at everything.
Time to pay, Eggman. Worthless consumer models. What a waste of energy. You will be completely eliminated. New target acquisition. Now I shall destroy you all.
Not to mention, when you get into a battle and one of your teammates go out, Omega says,
well, that's a load off my back.
Like, Jesus, dude. Anyway, so the team members just go through the zones, and then at the end they accomplish their goal, and all's well that ends well, except for some brief teasers here and there, and then a teaser to get all the Chaos Emeralds, what we'll talk about in a second, then a teaser to fight the last evil. So not a terrible story, very simple. However, in one way, a bit too simple, because for reasons I'll get into a bit later, you face all the same bosses as every single team. So wait, are there 3 separate versions of these boss fights happening one right after the other? In which order do they take place? In Sonic Adventure, it was pretty clear which stories took place in which order, but now it's a bit confusing, but whatever, I digress. We'll get into the last story at the end of the review, so let's just go into the presentation and voice acting. Oh my god, some actually competent animation. Finally, this is what I'm talking about. I was fine with Sonic Adventure 2's animation to some degree, but I wouldn't call it objectively good, just a milestone over Adventure 1. But here, these are finally some objectively good cutscenes to some extent. Yeah, they're a little bit janky and a bit quick to react, but these are just fine for what they set out to do because they are just cutscenes before they go into a stage. Geniusly, Sonic Team thought it was a great idea and thought, hey, we can't get these animations down pat to a respectable level, so why don't we just replace the significant cutscenes with CGI ones so you can take them more seriously? And that they did, because this is far better than anything before. It's still not perfect, it's a bit stringy and the motions can be stiff and move too fast, but come on, these are finally some actual fucking cutscenes. But with these cutscenes, we also got to talk about voice acting, and I'm happy to report that mostly everyone has reprised their roles, and I think they're at their best. David as Shadow, Ryan as Sonic, Scott as Knuckles, etc. All at thankfully a better performance, but still not perfect. Though I noticed that Tails got a new voice actor. How does he sound?
Excuse me? This place would make a great vacation spot. Yeah! All right! It's getting creepy around here. Look at all those Eggman's robots.
No, we were so close. God damn it. I don't know why Sonic Team is so hell-bent on Tails being voiced by an actual kid. This is even worse than Adventure 2. Well, yes, in Adventure 2, some of his lines may have sounded flat, but at the very least, the voice itself was pretty alright. But here, God! But at least the rest of them actually sound pretty okay for the most part. Charmy's annoying, SBO sounds like a ninja, though a little flat, Vector sounds like a crocodile, the whole shebang, it's all fine. Probably the closest we've got to an actual decent voice acting cast in this franchise. Again, except for Tails, because that's literally the worst fucking thing I've ever heard. OST-wise, oh, they delivered the goods! Seaside Hill? Bingo Highway, Grand Metropolis, The goods are here, and that extends to the vocal music as well. We'll start with the team themes. They're all great. Extremely catchy songs that fits this game's cheesy nature. Besides Team Dark, which goes for more of a harder rock, which makes sense, but the rest are incredibly cheesy songs that I love. You got Team Sonic's We Can singing about the power of teamwork.
Sonic's in the lead, giving us greater speed. Just keeps us flying high, staying in the trouble. And Knuckles by our side makes this a safer ride. We'll save the world and teach that Eggman lessons. Together we can overcome all the odds. It's never as hard as it seems.
Team Rose's theme, which let's not even beat around the bush here. It's really just a theme about Amy, but it's a guilty pleasure. It's catchy, and you're a boring trying to be masculine man if you think otherwise.
Anywhere you wanna go, anything you need to know, all the best in life, I wanna get it for you. Lately I just feel so fine, I imagine that you're mine. In my world you're gold, I only wanna protect you. Whenever I can.
But then we have the Motherlode, the best thing ever. Team Chaotix, the best vocal theme of anything ever. It's so different from all the other themes, yet fits so well. It has that detective theme twang in it while telling you everything about the Team Chaotix, and it's just the damn catchy, funny song. Just give it a listen, please. Then you have Team Dark's theme, which is pretty good, but I'm sorry, I'm not listening. I'm too busy jamming out to Team Chaotix again.
A shadow of myself, just who am I? Scan horizons, a tragic mystery. You could have left me here, still inside the blood. No one would ever know the chaos control.
But then we have another bombshell. Crush 40 returns and brings back that cheesy goodness with the main theme just named Sonic Heroes, which was just stuck in your head at one point. You got it out and now it's back in and you're still headbanging to it. Admit it.
What goes up must come down. Yeah, my feet don't touch the ground. See the world spinning upside down. A mighty crash without a sound. I can feel your every rage. Step aside, I'll turn the page. Breaking through your crazy maze. Like a laser beam, my eyes on you. Watch me rule the night away. Watch me save the day. Feel my storm is getting close. Heading your way. Sonic Hero.
Okay, and one last thing before we talk about the gameplay. The presentation and art style of the game. Well, looky who went back to the classic games. Seaside Hill looking a bit familiar, Yeah, I like the styles of Sonic Adventure 2 with its more gritty setting, but yeah, these zones look nice. Back to the simple 2D classic game aesthetics, which I think work great, especially for what the game is trying to go for, with its more lighthearted story and settings, which I think work fairly nice. I don't feel like it's too kiddie or too serious. It's just that perfect blend that makes this game feel just right. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay. And like I said earlier, we are past the adventure formula and now have 2 other characters stapled to us. So, how does this all work? Well, Sonic plays how you'd expect him to, running really fast, homing attacking enemies, and a new move called Tornado Spin, where you can use it on enemies with shields or swords to relieve them of said weapons, and also to use on poles to reach farther areas, and also this other move, which I think was a way to enhance the spin dash called Rocket Excel, and it's okay, I guess. Tails is a flying character that can fly Sonic and Knuckles to higher areas and can perform the Thunder Shoot, which we'll get into a bit later, and can also activate certain switches. We'll also talk about this later. Knuckles can punch and believe in the power of Gay to glide up fans, and when you switch to him, Team Sonic will go into an attack formation to better attack a cluster of enemies. Obviously, due to the team aspect of this game, repeat these for every other team in the game with just some minor tweaks. For example, when Sonic and Shadow do the Tornado Spin, they actually spin around and make the thing, then go on the pole. But Amy and SBO actually make the Tornado Spins in the air, with Amy throwing it, but SBO staying in place, which honestly kind of makes it a bit annoying when you're trying to use it right. The flying characters feel pretty much the damn same, honestly. There are probably some differences that I'm not seeing, but in terms of me playing the game and from memory, I got nothing. Though I'm sure someone will make sure to correct me in the comments about it, but in terms of me playing the game and not actually looking for differences, I didn't really see anything. But I cannot say the same for the power characters, because they got the most attention when making these new movesets. Cause bro, one moment you could be spinning around a giant fishing pole with Big to shooting out literal fireballs with Knuckles, and then shooting out flamethrowers with Omega and Vector. And also Vector can shoot bomb-filled bubblegum. Let me repeat that again. Bomb-filled bubblegum. Vector is the greatest thing ever, and I will not have any takebacks on that. When you defeat enough enemies or collect enough rings, you can perform a Team Blast, which is basically a screen nuke, but with one added benefit, changing depending on each team. Team Sonic, you each level up. Team Rose, you also all level up, but you are also invincible for a brief period of time. Team Chaotix, for every enemy you defeat, you get ring boxes. So you get another Team Blast right afterwards. But Team Dark has the most broken one by far. No, you don't get leveled up. No, you don't get to do a Team Blast twice in a row. But Shadow uses Chaos Control and freezes time. Now, sure, in the levels, this doesn't mean that much other than skipping some enemies. But in boss fights or higher health enemies, oh my god, you just cracked the game in half. During the story, you will clash with another team, which returns rival battles. And they are a good step up from before. But
Ouch. No, I'm serious.
There. I just beat up a child. I just realized I just beat up a child.
Hi, Big. Oh, nothing new.
Big was just standing there.
Oh.
Okay,
But now it's time to get into the things I really do not like about this game. Because there are some really huge issues with Sonic Heroes regarding the flying type and the power type that I have not mentioned yet. So let's start off light. I mentioned earlier that there are certain switches you activate as the flying characters, and they can be so goddamn strict. Out of range, too close, the switch spins and you can't hit it. Sonic and Knuckles just don't hit the thing for whatever reason, wait for them to come back and try again, and try to put it precisely at the goddamn switch. Now this is more of a nuisance than an actual game fault, but I want you to remember this when we talk about the final boss when we get to the last story summary. What I will talk about now is the absolute dependence on Thundershoot. A couple of the bosses require this move, and for that, we need to talk about the level up system. When defeating enemies or grabbing a balloon or finding a capsule, you will be rewarded with a level up for that character type, and unlock a more powerful version of that move, which is how you get the fireball move from Knuckles I mentioned earlier, or the flamethrowers with Omega and Vector. Now, this is a good system. However, there is a problem, and it mainly applies to the bosses Robot Storm and Egg Emperor, where the level 2 Thundershoot feels damn near essential to do any type of damage, because your level 1 attack with the flying does barely anything on the Robot Storm, and I am not kidding, probably nothing on Egg Emperor. And the first wave of robots in Robot Storm is in a formation that looks like it was meant for Thundershoot. But you don't have it, therefore it barely does anything. So you have to try and awkwardly homing attack them over and over and try to kill them. But whatever. At least there's a way, right? Egg Emperor can go kiss my fucking ass. The power characters do a pitiful amount of damage, so you basically need Thundershoot at level 2. Now, thankfully, at the start of the boss battle, they do give you a level up for each of these characters, so you at least have a head start. But if you're playing this boss fight for the first time and you don't know what you need, And a lot of times you can't afford to defeat enemies because the Egg Emperor will charge at you with no warning, so it's best to probably stay ahead of him so he doesn't charge at you. But if you're in the sky and he charges at you, well, guess what? There's a fucking death and you gotta start all over again. Now, yes, I did get the hang of it after Team Sonic, but Jesus Christ, this was brutal to play. Back to Robot Storm for a second to talk about a problem with the power characters. In order to do your fireball attack, you need to do 3 hits in order to activate it, but this leads to you sliding all over the damn place, and when there's a lot of enemies involved and you can't keep track of multiple things at once, you'll hit something, and that brings us to Knockback. Or at least, it should have. Hi, Editor Cole here. You see, the issue I just brought up, I swear it happened many times, but when I was trying to look through the recording and trying to find it, I could not find it. So I actually tried to recreate the issue in post recording, and it wouldn't do it! It wouldn't do it! I tried, I played so recklessly, and I couldn't replicate the issue. This game has a vendetta towards me. Holy fuck, the knockback is brutal in this game. It's mostly on Robot Storm, but it's other places as well. If you happen to be on the edge of the arena, or you slide with your power character and happen to hit something, the knockback throws you right off the stage. And this happened so many more times than I'd like to admit, and it made me so goddamn angry. And not to mention, there are enemies that you either have to relieve of their weapons, or in the turtle's case, turn upside down in order to defeat with the tornado spin. And if you happen to get hit while in the tornado spin, you receive knockback and get flinged off the stage like a Bible when someone says something stupid in a courtroom. But with Team Chaotix, that should make this boss a breeze, right? They constantly keep getting team blasts one after the other, so no worries. That should make this boss a piece of fucking cake. Fuck this cannon! Oh sure, it's fine up until you have to try to get these ship things, and where you have to line them up at a pinpoint accuracy where you cannot mess up. And not to mention, you get so focused on trying to hit them that sometimes you forget you have to keep track of Vector, and then accidentally shoot him out and die, then have to start the entire boss all over again. Sonic Heroes, did I hurt you in a past life? What have I done to deserve this? I did nothing to you to warrant this, and yet you do this to me. Speaking of boss fights, I almost forgot. Besides Robot Storm, Robot Carnival, and Egg Emperor, the rest are just...
You'll pay for this!
Yeah, that. The Lightspeed Dash makes a return, and oh... No!
Someone want to explain that to me?
Hero said, press B. Cole presses B. What does Cole get? Game freaking over. You know, I hear people complain about the Lightspeed Dash in Sonic Adventure 2 and saying it's the worst one, but clearly they have not played Sonic Heroes because you have to line it up perfectly. You see, when the camera is normal and is actually behind you, the light speed works better, but when the game wants to get all fancy-smancy with its camera angle... Okay, let's calm down. Let's talk about the level design before we complain some more. And believe me, the bitching hasn't stopped. The level design is made for 3 characters to run around at the same time. Oh, who would have thunk that? Plenty of wide open areas, but not too wide so the level design doesn't feel empty and lifeless. Ahem. If this level design was made for 1 character, these levels would feel way too much, but here it works great. But the question is, what do you do in these levels? Well, it's simple. Just race across to the end and defeat enemies along the way. It's like it's a Sonic game or something. Oh, I gotta talk about that now, don't I? Oh, fine, the bitching shall return. So the other 3 teams we have been playing as, they all feel great to play as, but there's one tiny problem with this game as a whole. All of these stories have the exact same stages in the exact same order in the exact same way. Now, yes, the level designs do change very slightly, but not enough to where I feel like I'm playing different stages. While playing it, it literally felt like I was playing the exact same stage 4 times in a row. Now, yes, there are some differences, but by and large, it either feels like a longer stage or a shorter stage at the end of the day. The levels aren't completely different like in Sonic Adventure 2. Adventure 1 had all the levels, and it did feel kind of the same, but at the very least, due to different playstyles, they all felt different. But here, it's the exact same gameplay copied 4 times with a little bit extra put on or taken away, but not enough to make it feel completely different and making the game feel repetitive as all hell. But the most annoying about this is that when you go into an annoying stage, you can't feel triumphant or happy about it, because once you finally beat it, you then realize you have to play it 3 more times. And that doesn't fill me with victory or happiness, it made me feel dread. But what stage am I talking about per se? What stage made me want to throw my controller every single time I played it? Well, that would be Rail Canyon, of course. Oh, right, rail grinding made a return in Sonic Heroes, just like Sonic Adventure 2, and ignoring Rail Canyon for just a moment, it still works just as good. Still cool, still fresh. But all of my compliments get thrown right out the window the minute we get into Rail Canyon. This stage, along with its counterpart Bullet Station, is 99% rail grinding, and there are huge problems. If you're in a situation where you can't change rails and there's an obstacle headed your way, you have to jump over it. And if you do that, sometimes your controller will just be like, nah, you meant to switch rails, and fling you off the rail and death. When you try to jump towards a platform, you switch rails instead and death. When you try to switch rails onto a platform, you gain a burst of speed and don't have the reaction to stop yourself and death. And finally, if you happen to land on a rail grind backwards and need to jump yourself back around, you switch rails and death. It got so bad to the point that there was this one part where I needed to turn around again, but I didn't trust it, so I contemplated my life for a really long time until I hit a speed panel to turn myself around automatically. God, these stages are super bad. Fuck these stages, seriously. The game's difficulty can be pretty bad, but this one is just an all-new low. If I wasn't reviewing this game, I most likely would have put the game down right there. I'm serious. This wouldn't be so bad if I just had to beat it just once, but you have to play the game 4 times with each team member. Ugh! Whenever I beat this stage with Team Sonic, I didn't take a sigh of relief. I took a sigh of dread because I knew I had to play it 3 more times. That's the difference between something like, I don't know, Metropolis Zone in Sonic 2. Yeah, sure, that zone is shit, but hey, once you beat it, you never have to beat it again. Provided you're playing with save states. But you catch my drift. Now imagine if you had to play Metropolis Zone 4 separate times, and you might see my issues. Seriously, this is a huge problem with Sonic Heroes, and frankly, completely lazy level design. People complain about gimmicks solely meant for padding about game time in modern games, yet this is where people don't draw the line? Oh, but don't go away, because I've saved the biggest bitchings for last. Team Chaotix. Team Chaotix. I may have complained about this game pretty much copying this game 4 times, but after I played this team, oh, fuck, go back. Remember how I said that these levels are just reach for the goal and it's like a Sonic game or something? Well, that gets thrown out completely with Team Chaotix because these levels are scavenger hunts. Scavenger hunts in a Sonic game. Now, in fairness, a couple of the levels you do just go for the goal, and there's even one mission where you have to go through Egg Fleet without being detected, which is actually kind of cool, but everything else can go suck ass. Defeat all the enemies in the stage, find 20 items, unlike these candles, find 20 items, defeat these enemies, unlike these candles, defeat these enemies, unlike these candles, find 20 items, unlike these candles, defeat 20 items, unlike these candles, find all these enemies, unlike the damn candles. I hate these missions so goddamn much. It just makes the game take a complete nosedive. So much so that mainly during the mission where you had to unlight the candles, which I am pretty sure you've never heard about, I just completely zoned out and played the stage like I would with Team Sonic, Dark, and Rose. And then I realized I had to restart all over and wasted my time. Yes, technically that's my fault to some extent, but how can you blame me with this game just all of a sudden transform into something completely different at a moment's notice when I'm used to what I've been playing so far? Not to mention these missions have collectibles scattered all over the place to where you actively have to search for them, causing you to stop and check. This isn't a Sonic game. This isn't right. That makes me so goddamn mad. Thankfully though, I can be rest assured knowing that Sonic Team realized that this is such a stupid idea and therefore didn't do anything like this again, I'm sure. But I think that's all the bitching I have for today. There's not really much to bitch about. Oh yes, there is! A lot of the stuff I have been bitching about. A good amount could be up to preference or just not liking a certain part of the game or the control just being bad on one particular stage. But this is a flaw that permeates through the entire fucking game. All 4 teams, all of the stages, and it is required in order to beat the game. And that's because Chaos Emeralds return in Sonic Heroes and bringing back special stages from the classic games. Okay, that's cool, fair. Is what I would be saying if they didn't completely suck. It's the half pipe from Sonic 2 again, just somehow worse. No, you can't see the bombs coming in time for you to react because of this weird camera angle. No, you can't control it well. Yes, you can get hung up at the top and waste time and wind up losing. But I could forgive all of this. I really could. If Sega didn't pull the most cheap, stupid, and borderline impossible task of beating a stage without taking a hit, while going through every even number stage, stage 2, stage 4, stage 6, etc. You have to find a key in these stages and they are kinda scarce. I could only remember finding about 2 of them at most, maybe 3, but you have to grab them and not get hit a single time. Now to clarify, if you have a shield, then it doesn't count, so thank God, but still, this is a bullshit requirement. If they made it to where you just couldn't die, then that would be one thing. But no, not getting hit a single time. And what do you get for all this? 7 terrible special stages and a last story segment, which we will get into in a moment. But is this worth it? No! No, it's not worth it, especially with all the issues I mentioned earlier, plus the game expecting you to not get hit a single time in order to get a Chaos Emerald. For a last story segment that was locked in Adventure 1 and 2 just by completing all the stories and not this fuckery. No, it's stupid, it's fucking bullshit. I know, I've been very negative about this game, but the game pissed me off. How many more times can I say it? Now, is it a bad game? It's a good game, and I guess I can say it's pretty satisfying once you actually complete it. I legitimately love the team mechanic, and I think it sets itself apart from other platformers, and honestly, I think it deserves a sequel or return to form in some way. The game does have potential, and I legitimately think they can make a whole completely new series of games. Sort of like Mario and Paper Mario, you know, that sort of thing. I think it fits the Sonic IP well, and therefore I think it should continue and refine itself. Just make all of the game fun and not have it be this trial and error garbage mess, please. Ugh. But I guess that just leaves us with the multiplayer, and unfortunately, no Flintstones intro because I wasn't recording Freddy when he did this part, so no intro. So you have plenty of game modes to go through together. It's mostly races, just like Sonic Adventure 2, and I thought that multiplayer was extremely fun. Do I think the same here? Yeah, totally. You do have to unlock all a bunch of stuff, which is kind of annoying, but I downloaded a 100% save file so I could judge everything, and there's a good amount of stuff here. There's even the kart racing segments, which thankfully are actually better than Sonic Adventure 2 by a long shot, and actually have unique stages that aren't absolute ass. There are other modes as well, including the special stages, which we only played once because fuck that noise. 3, 2, 1, done.
Suck dick.
I win. Ooh, there's a bra commercial on. I literally look over at my TV and there's a bra commercial on. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I literally look over and I see. Okay, on to finally the last story, where I will try to keep it brief because this video got way longer than I thought it was going to be. So I purposely left something out about Sonic Heroes just for the sake of dramatics, and that is that in Team Sonic's story, you see Metal Sonic pop up and say data successfully copied. My question is though, why is this in Team Sonic's story? Shouldn't it be in one of the side ones? Like, Team Sonic is just a basic story, and then all the other ones, there's more story? That's just a minor nitpick, but I feel like that's the way you should present a story, in my opinion. The one that everyone is gonna play is the basic one, then have the extra story for the other ones. Anyway, sorry, back to the last story. So Metal Sonic has been copying data all this time so he can defeat the Sonic Hero, and he turns into his ultimate form. If it ever happens already. Okay, come on now. Anyway, real quick comment. So this whole game is about Metal Sonic copying data so he can learn how to beat them all, but why? Doesn't he only care about Sonic? Why does he care about Team Dark or Team Chaotix or hell, even Team Rose? Why go through the trouble of stealing Chocola and Froggy to copy data when they are just kids? Oh, and Amy, sorry.
I'm refined and elegant like a delicate flower, you jerk!
So Sonic Heroes decides to use the Chaos Emeralds that I spent a long time trying to get to stop Metal Sonic. And by that I really just mean Team Sonic are using them. But hey, does that mean we'll get Super Tails and Pink Knuckles from Sonic 3 again? Well, before that we have to fight the boss fight Metal Madness, and fuck! I literally turned on my mic and broke down at this part. I'm fucking serious. This boss fight is bullshit. It's mainly just the Team Chaotix section, but God, it's bad. So like I established earlier during bosses, Thundershoot with your flying character is basically required, and it's no different here. Now there's this light that indicates which style you can't use, which is a good gimmick. I like that. However, the power character gets no power-ups. You only get 2 level ups each for both SPO and Charming. Now, what you can do when the light turns yellow is homing attack with your speed character. But if you don't want to risk falling, the smart thing is to use your power character. But when you use your power character and throw your teammates like Vector is doing here, you have to get in range in order for the hit to work. Fair enough. But in range is right at the edge of the platform. All of the stage, all of it, meaningless. Because you can only hit here. But whatever, right? Surely you can hit the boss with Thundershoot more off the platform, right? It works the same way! So what's the problem with this? When you use either the power character or the flying character, you move very slightly, even if you aren't touching the control stick. And if you're not paying attention because you're, focusing on the boss to make sure it doesn't hit you, you most likely slide off the platform and die. Oh, but if you thought that was the only thing you had to worry about, oh no. Metal Sonic will shoot these things that you have to dodge, or else it'll freeze one of the characters and you have to release them. This rubber band's like a motherfucker. Like, what was that? This broke me. I'll let the footage speak for itself. I actually just went ahead and turned up my OBS at this part. This is all genuine. I did not act for the camera. I promise you, this was all legit. How? SBO, how? Charming, how? Oh no! I can't do this!
Here we go!
You stupid!
I'm the bad one. I'm the bad one. I was the. Okay, fine. Now that one was not. Holy! I was gonna say the Vector one. Okay. That one was fine. That one was close enough. But the SPO one? Oh my god, you saw that! Oh my god! That's so stupid! How do you do that? How do you do that? That doesn't make any sense!
Here we go!
This thing is so stupid! Oh! God! Break free, Soaring! Lion! Hey!
Let me go!
God! You can't fucking do the thing that it forces you over slightly and it causes you to get off the and Vector's gonna get even though I wasn't in control of him. Oh my god! Do it!
I'll take the lead!
Do this!
You!
Do it! Do it!
Here we go! Let's go!
Oh my god! Oh!
Now it's up to you!
Ow!
This victory shall soon turn into despair.
How the fuck? That makes no sense! You saw that! How? You got him again! I just got him!
I'll take it from here!
Please! is one of the worst boss fights I've ever played. Oh my god. So, after painfully doing all of that, Metal Sonic rises up from the ashes. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles transforms into their super forms, and what is that? What is that? What are those shields? Excuse me? Are you fucking kidding me? In Sonic 3, they had super forms, so why not reuse? Ugh. So finally, we're at the final boss. And y'all know me, I like my Crush 40 final boss themes, and is it good? Oh, hell. Fucking yeah, it's good. One I made up, performed by Crush 40, and it's a great song. Oh my god, just please have a listen. It's so good.
What I have in my 2 hands is enough to set me free. I can fight the feeling to resist it over time. But when it's just too much to take, you sneak up from behind. Is it me? You say you're looking for? Let me show you who I am.
Okay. Anyway, so the boss is okay. It did take me a bit to figure out what to do, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It's probably the best boss out of all 3 of these, but in my opinion, I prefer the more story-tense boss fights of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Not to say that this boss isn't story-tense or anything, just not to the same degree as these. I just like the other bosses had more story build-up, so it actually felt cool to fight them, but here, there's not much build-up until the end. Anywho, this boss basically just revolves around you counterattacking Metal Overlord's attacks and building up a Team Blast to get a hit on him, and you do this about 5-6 times, not sure, I didn't count, and that's that. Metal Sonic defeated, Team Sonic runs off into the sunset waiting for the next adventure, ending Sonic Heroes. Well, I know I've been a good amount of negative with this game, I get it, but what's my final verdict? It's a fine game. Bearing in mind a few issues, I do still recommend this game to some extent. I do like it enough to say it's objectively a good game, just with some rather difficult moments and bullshit moments at that, and bad control in a few instances. But by and large, the game is pretty fun, and that's what's important. But I recommend Sonic Adventure 2 and even Sonic Adventure 1 definitely over this. I think those are objectively better games, and the difficulty is just right, making those the easiest games for someone to just pick up and play. And that, in my eyes, is important for a Sonic tile. So try out the classics, try out Adventure 1 and 2, then give Heroes a shot. Just don't jump into this game as a first timer. Just, God, please don't. Because seriously, if I played Rail Canyon as a first timer, I would have definitely made Sonic play dead. Yes, I know that's a dog joke and not a hedgehog joke, but hedgehogs eat their own feces. So if you wanted me to joke about that, well, that's not happening. Oh my goodness, that was a really long one. I was not expecting this video to be that long, and that editor's note was real, by the way. That wasn't a joke. Oh, if you like this review, make sure to give it a like. I'm sorry if I'm a bit warbly, especially like even in the voice recording like you just heard. I was a bit warbly because I was so mad over that boss. I'll tell you, like, this was the video where I was like the most exhausted after I was finished recording. Honestly, like that's not a joke, and you probably can tell just by how bad that Metal Madness boss was for me. Oh boy, I did not expect this video to be over 40 minutes. Oh boy, so I'm gonna wrap up this end card. Please make sure to check out some of my other content. I think after that Metal Madness boss, I think I deserve it. At least another view, okay? Make sure to share this video with your friends, and please don't just share that timestamp. You know, please just share the whole video, please. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give it a like, subscribe, all that. Yeah, thank you. Bye.